right, we are recording. It's the Mike Tech Show, show number 788. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Mike Smith. Thank you very much for downloading and subscribing to the show. Please visit the main website at miketechshow.com. You can email me questions and suggestions for show topics at miketechshow@gmail.com. You can leave me a voicemail message on Skype. The name is Mike Tech Show, all one word. Follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Mike Tech Show, and also facebook.com/Mike Tech Show. This show is brought to you by Instant Housecall, robust remote support for IT pros and MSPs, providing unattended and on-demand remote access. Try it free for 15 days by clicking on the link on my website at miketechshow.com or go directly to instanthousecall.com. When you download the trial, remember to use the promo code MikeTechShow, and you're going to get 15 days, kick the tires, check it out, and then go back and you're going to want to sign up and purchase it. Tonight, have a great show. The first half of the show is going to be Windows 11. I have a lot of opinions, but better than that, I'm going to demonstrate. If you're listening to the audio-only portion of this, it's show 788. Go to my YouTube site if you want to follow along when I'm doing the visual demonstration. And that's very easy to do. Just go to youtube.com and /Michael Smith, MICHAEL SMITH MTS for Mike Tech Show. It'll be show 788, and then you'll be able to follow along when I'm demonstrating it from my test system. So before we start the demonstration, let me begin with some links. The first link that's going to be in the show notes is from Microsoft introducing Windows 11. So a lot of propaganda, shows you the pretty screenshots and some of the ways that they believe you're going to maximize your productivity. So take a look at that first link. Then, what are the minimum system requirements? Here's the problem. The processor that they list is so minimal, but that's false. What they don't list are all of the processors where you need for Intel 8th generation or greater. So you're going to have a tough time with some of these requirements. I'm going to describe that when I demonstrate the system. It's not just the processor, but you also have to have TPM, Trusted Platform Module 2.0. Some systems, like my gigabit motherboard for the system that Carrie built for me, I had to go through hoops in the BIOS to activate it. But once I activate it, I ran the checkup utility and it passed. So that's another link, which is that second link. It leads you to a test, a health check to see that your system can run Windows 11. Now, third link is from CNET, and we'll discuss all of the different new features. Really, what's the big differences from Windows 11 and Windows 10? And for good measure, I have another one from Trusted Devices, which is how do they compare. This was my, I guess, favorite comparisons of Windows 10 to Windows 11. So with that, let's begin the demonstration. So I am remoted into my Windows 11 test system, and I will very quickly cut over to that. and display. So here's my Windows 11 system, and I think I turned off the mic just for tonight's show. I'll put it back, that overlay, so this way you can see the menu. So the programs on the side were the programs that I install with Ninite. Always Firefox, Chrome, Malwarebytes, VLC. You could see instant house calls on there to get remote support. And Adobe Reader, the free version, DC. So the first thing that everybody's mentioning and Microsoft is so proud of is the menu option for the start menu. It now loads right in the middle. Now that's cool. Very nice. Now the beta version that I had for Windows 11 was pretty early. When I signed up for the Insider Preview program, which is what you're going to want to do, there were a lot of changes. And I signed up for that this week. And that might have been Tuesday night. And the new update came down, rebooted. And what changed, all of the boxes, every box you see is a rounded screen. So this is settings now. The first beta, the settings look no different than Windows 10. Now you got rounded edges. Okay. It's a clean, elegant look, but do we really need that? I mean, I'm sure in Windows 10, companies like StarDocs and other places, they can build a theme that can change these things. I was expecting a lot more for you to come out from Microsoft to go to a whole different numbered version, to go from 10 to 11. I'm expecting more than just a facelift and some graphical changes. I want some blood and guts. Give me something. Show me something to make me want to go to Windows 11. Just making some graphical changes, that's not enough. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at About. So we're going to look at the test system, which this is an AMD Ryzen 3 Pro 2200G. Now, I have the it's Windows. It obviously was Windows 10 Pro before this and was activated. So this activated Windows 11 Pro with no trouble. And it is only 8 gig of RAM, and it's a 256 gig solid state drive. It is an NVMe. So not a bad system. It's an HP Elite Desk. It's okay. And we tried to look for other systems that we already had set up for test units. They would not install Windows 11 because they were not compatible. Microsoft has a ridiculous CPU requirement that will prevent many, many systems from upgrading. Now, one of the nice things is I still have old control panel here, and let me bring up Device Manager to show you what I'm talking about. You have to have the Trusted Platform module right under Security Devices here. You must have the Trusted Platform module 2.0. Some systems have this turned off in the BIOS. So you would go to the BIOS, activate this, and then boot and hope that it's 2.0. I still have systems out there that's only 1.2. So right off the bat, you are not going to be able to run Windows 11. So I thought I was pretty happy here. Everything's good. Hey, Windows 11 came installed until I show you this message from Windows Update and Security. When I signed up and joined the Windows Insider program, which is very easy, you click on that. If you turned off all of the options where Microsoft wants to keep an eye on you and collect data, you have to turn those features on. in order to join the Insider program. So there will be privacy and security changes you will have to make in order to qualify for the Insider program. And I want that because I want this system to be on the bleeding edge so I can talk about features. So I'll take this to automatically reboot and just do whatever it takes. So let's look at the Windows Insider program, and you can choose your build. So let's look at that. So I have here the development channel because I want to be the first to access the latest builds. They have a beta channel, so you're not on that bleeding edge, and then a release preview channel. So you're only going to get the big fixes and certain key features, but I want everything because I want to be able to talk about it. So here, the menus are pretty much the same. Now, one of the things that I got on the last build, but I don't have it here, it gave me a message that right here that my system will not be able to run Windows 11 Pro when it's released because I don't have the proper requirements. Now, right now, I don't have that message here. So that's very interesting. So let's go to network and internet. So if you click Ethernet, this is the same. You just go to public or private. What they've done is they've listed everything and made nice, pretty, rounded corners. Not a lot of changes. So, the Insider program, I forgot about that. And Tim, who sent me, who's always listening and joins the show live, sent me a nice post on Facebook reminding me about the Insider program, and it's why I joined. So thank you, Tim, for that. I really appreciate it. So accounts, I have account just user. We keep it very simple. So accessibility, I was looking, has anything changed? Not really. There's not a lot of things changed. I'm going to give you the biggest feature that I absolutely love. Any box that you have, you have the square box that will maximize and minimize that window that's open. Now, when you hover your mouse, what I'm demonstrating now, you have 4 boxes, and you can pick what quadrant you want that to appear. So I'm going to click this third box with the lower quadrant, and it snaps right to there and sets up the screen into those sections. So now I have control panel over here. I have a section here, and down below there's a view to view everything that's running and your desktop. Well, we had this in Windows 10. This is not a, it's not a revelation. They've made it cleaner looking. Is it a reason to go out and buy new hardware to run this? I don't see it. I don't see 80% of my clients are not going to care about this and want to go to Windows 11. They're going to treat this like Windows Me and Windows 8. That's what I believe. It's going to be very hard to break into the corporate world. Now, for home units, if you're buying a new computer and Windows 11 is shipping, absolutely. That's what you want, the latest, greatest operating system. Now, should you go to it or not? If you are a tech and you can dedicate hardware like I am, then absolutely play with it. Join the Insider Preview program and get the latest, greatest. But don't make that your production machine. You don't want to do that. That's why my machine is off limits. My son's main workstation is off limits. we have 2 test units that actually now we have 3. We have a Synchro test unit. I was willing to give that up for Windows 11. Nope, not compatible. I have a nice little system that's behind me. No, that would not work. So we finally scraped and clawed and found this computer, and it could run Windows 11. So we were, we're happy. So let's go back. Hold on to desktop 1. Now, can I? How do you get out of it? Hold on. Now, this is interesting. I don't know if I've locked up. I don't think I've locked up. I'm trying to think if I locked up or how to get out of it. Interesting. Taskbar. Oh, by the way, notice that you get taskbar settings when you right-click. You don't get the task manager. So now I want to continue with this, and I can't. So for the audio portion, we're going to pause Audacity. All right. Everybody watching the video, let's see. How do I get out of this? I've got, it's sort of locked up. Well, that's what testing is, right? I cannot get out of this, whatever this screen layout is now. Okay. We finally got something. 3-fingered salute. Yeah, but that's a pain right now to reboot everything. Windows key. Ooh, good point. Well, that's the Windows key, by the way. How come right-clicking and just clicking on this? There we go. Alt-tab. That's what this view's supposed to be. All right, so what we're going to do is I am rebooting. So we are restarting. I mean, I did a lot. Okay. Escape key, double click. I did that. It didn't work. So let's go back to recording. So for a couple minutes on the video, I just tried to get out of a situation that I went in, and I'm now rebooting the test computer. So I might come back to it. Let's see what happens. I'll monitor it with my Synchro RMM, which is what we put on every computer that we touch, so I can have full control of everything. So now Alaskan had a great idea, which I should have been a little more patient, but Task Manager wasn't coming up. Should have brought up Task Manager and killed Explorer.exe, and I believe that would have got me out of it. That is actually a pretty good solution there. And I want to go on with the show. I have so much more to talk about. So let me mention my final Windows 11 wrap up. It's only graphical changes, really. Yes, you could read about some of the other features. They're just not meaningful enough to me. Being able to put those nicely in the quadrants, yeah, that's nice. But that's it. It looks pretty. It looks more like a Mac as Microsoft keeps trying to get closer and closer to what the Mac looks like. And they don't have to. I don't know. I mean, I was this way with Windows 10 also. I was this way when Windows 7 came out. But no, actually, I embraced Windows 7 pretty quickly. I had the same issue with Windows 10. Is there enough to make us want to upgrade? And that's what they have to do. Microsoft, they got to have a compelling reason. Will it run faster? Yeah, you have to buy new hardware, or pretty close to new, in order to run Windows 11. So sure, it's going to run better. I believe you're going to need a lot more memory than what they're suggesting. I think they want 4 gig or 8 gig. That's crazy. That's crazy. 16 gig minimum anymore. So even what they're listing as the other requirements other than TPM2 and the CPU, you still got to beef it up. And then, of course, it's going to run better. So I'm staying the course. Remember, Windows 10, its end of life is 2025. So unless that moves, we are in no immediate danger for our clients to have to upgrade hardware. But as Windows 11 releases and it gets more and more, if the mainstream starts adapting to it more and more, then we will have to adjust our opinions and our suggestions and recommendations for clients to get them ready to budget properly for new hardware. And you know what? In 4 to 5 years, you're going to want new hardware anyway. So at that point, yes. Now, if you're just an individual and you want to play, go right ahead. I would get an image of your Windows 10 and then download the 11, join the Insider Preview program, get the latest, greatest of everything in play. But remember, you could have driver's issues. Look how I just locked up. What if I was broadcasting from that? Now it had to reboot. There's no way my production machine will go to Windows 11 until it's out in the mainstream for a year. I'll have it on other systems, but not my main production system. So just keep that in mind, and please back up everything. So I know I'll be back talking about Windows 11, and let me know what you're thinking. If you're playing with 11 and you got an opinion, hey, record an MP3, email it to me, MikeTechShow@gmail.com. And you can just leave me a voicemail on Skype. I will get it into the show and work it in. I want to talk about a dental software upgrade that went wrong on Saturday. My son and I were on site. Every time I ran the program, it would go halfway through and stop looking for files in a crazy directory in app data. And it was looking for a file that is part of the install. So I just moved all the install files. I created a directory path there, tried it again, no joy. I spent 2 hours trying everything humanly possible. So now I need to get them up and running on the original version. So I try to start up the database. No joy. I could not get. They have this version 18 of the software. We were going to 21. 18 would not come back up. Now, the night before, I have 2 backups. There's a critical data directory that has over 233 gig. That is a file folder backup that I performed Thursday night, getting it to an external drive that took over 4 hours using SyncBack free. I was able to move it over, no trouble. Then I kicked off a manual full backup of Shadow Protect. So I had a full image. Now, on Saturday, I could have laid down the image on the system. I could have booted up from the recovery USB for Shadow Protect, and I could have restored everything. Something in my head said, don't do that. Let's let the software tech support check this out. Because I wanted to see how we're going to resolve this. Either getting back to 18, we can't move forward because they have 16 workstations in this dental practice that have to be upgraded. We would have needed a couple more hours. So I was in constant touch with the office manager and the main doctor who owns the practice, and they were okay with my son and I being on site for 8 a.m. Monday morning, even though they have patients coming in, they'll keep track of everything manually until I can get it up and running. But I wanted that chance to work with tech support. It took 3 hours to fully get them up and running. The tech support remoted in right away and tried everything that I tried. No. Now, the only way to get running was to uninstall the dental software. When they uninstalled, now remember, there's something corrupt, there's something going on here with the software that didn't allow it to fully finish the upgrade. So they had to bring out the manual instructions to finish the uninstall and start deleting registry keys and deleting some directories. Then a full reboot. The Windows software went, the install went perfect for 18. Now, because I have a backup, we were able to pull the database and the log files over, restart the database. We test it. They're up and running. What they don't have is the history of all the patients. Because one of the things we had to discuss on the phone, and they had to verify, did I have a full backup of that data directory that they were able to look to make sure I have every patient's record and all of their imaging files. That's where the other 230 gig of data of all their patients. When you install the software and it's not an upgrade, it deletes that directory, the data directory. There's nothing you can do about it. That's what the install process does. So with that being deleted, we quickly got them up and running. They just couldn't see the patient's history until all those other files were copied back. So I used SyncBack to do a reverse. Very interesting. Only an hour and 45 minutes for everything to go back. It was 4 hours one direction, but only an hour and 45 to come back. I kicked that off, and we were able to leave at that point because within 2 hours, they would have all the history and everything. So they worked for 3 hours manually, were up and running, and basically they were successful because of the backups. Now, I was ready. If tech support couldn't get 18 going, and I told tech support this, I said, I'm ready to do a full recovery from Shadow Protect. You tell me when you give up here, or if it's taking too much time, I'm going to pull the plug and say, this is what we're doing, and I'm going to get this back. So having them fix the install of 18, they feel we're confident that we're going to be able to upgrade to 21 because we got past that one error. Now, they are not there on weekends since the pandemic. I've done this software upgrade a couple times. I think I went from version 16 to 17 to then 18, and then we haven't done an upgrade in a while, and now there are features that they need that's forcing this to go to 21. So I made some demands working with the office manager and the doctor who owns the practice. We have to pick a day during the week. I have to do this during business hours. So if something goes wrong, we have support of the software company to get us through it. And so it cannot be on a Saturday or Sunday. So we actually have the 30th of July, a Friday. We've now put it in stone. We are going to do that install and upgrade because they're not seeing any patients. They have to assign someone to let us in the office and to be there for testing. We're not users of the software. I can't tell if all the patient data is there. Sure, I could look up some things, and there's even a test patient, but not the imaging. There are cameras in each of the portable, portable scanners for that they can use in the actual exam room that communicates with the software, that's got to be tested. And that's stuff, we just don't use that enough. So I need a clinical technician that's available. They've assigned that person. It's probably going to be the same person that was there for us that Saturday. So that last Saturday ended up being a short Saturday. Now, if all goes well, add a couple more hours to that, because now we have to hit every single workstation. So while I was doing that, my son went around, did maintenance, upgrading the antivirus software, making sure all the Windows updates are up to date. And it was a nice opportunity to hit every system on site like that. So that was Saturday. But let me tell you, backup, backup, backup. That is the big lesson here. Do not try anything and test. Make sure it's all there. If you're doing a file backup and it's 233 gig, make sure you got 233 gig on the destination of the backup. Do an image backup. Now, the doctor never agreed to online backups. And I said, what are you going to do with all your patient data if something blows up and it's out of your control? I said, you're not here. I said, it's one of the stores next door or something else that they cause a problem. And now, where's your data? So he agreed, doing an online backup of everything, of the server, making sure all the software is and all of the patient data is backed up. So what am I going to do? We're going to have 3 backups before the 30th. I'm going to have Thursday night a Shadow Protect full image. We are going to have a file folder backup with sync back, and we're going to have a full system backup at Magnus Box up in the cloud. Yes, HIPAA compliant. This is a dental office. It's perfect. So all of those things has to happen before we step foot on Friday the 30th. If any one of those 3 fails, I got to be able to kick off and make sure it's successful before we dare touch the system. That's how you have to be. When you're putting a project plan together for any upgrade, any software, that's the biggest lesson you can take from here. And if you're not responsible for that, make sure, raise your hand. If you work for a company and if you have, you see a project going on, go ahead and ask, hey, do you have a full image backup? Do you have file backup and folder backup of everything? Do you have an online backup? Question, challenge, make sure that that's happening. Yeah, you have to. This is the way you succeed. Could you imagine if I didn't have a backup and they lost the patient's data? That would have been horrible, horrible. So I can't stress that enough. That was the big lesson. That is it for tonight's show. Please remember, anything that you purchase from Amazon, use the link that Carrie Holzman and I share. Carrie and I, we do Tech Vets. I have the Mike Tech Show, also his great videos on YouTube. Use the link on our website, bookmark it. So before you add your items to the shopping cart in Amazon, use our link, add them. Then when you buy it, we get a small commission. Your price stays the same. That is the best way to show your support for all the shows that we work very, very hard on. One of the biggest programs that we use is Fab's AutoBackup. You hear me talk about it all the time. If you don't own it, check out the link in the show notes and go to it. It's inexpensive, and you can copy all the data and everything you want when you're going from one system to another, one client system to another. Fabrice always makes great updates to take care of everything and any issue. It is awesome working with him with that product. So don't forget Instant Housecall, great remote support for your clients. This is, if you are in IT or an MSP, there you go. That's the solution. That's it. Everybody, if you're celebrating the 4th of July this weekend, have a great 4th of July. Stay safe. I'll see you back here next week. Same time, same channel. Bye-bye, everybody.